0 o'clock. What began as a straightforward family outing, a joyful meal to celebrate Jack's 18th birthday, transformed into an unexpected tale altogether. As usual, my husband Will immersed himself in his work, while I busied myself with the dishes and the sweet aroma of baking pies. Envisioning a day filled with joy and comfort, I frequently pondered the moment when the facade of our existence, which appeared to be thriving, began to fracture, much like aged furniture that is unraveling at its joints. 029. Those who resided in the vicinity and were familiar with us believed we were an exemplary family, residing in a lovely home with well-mannered children who appeared perpetually joyful and immaculate. Yet, I alone held the knowledge of the darkness that had crept into the seemingly safe and cozy realm. Will was perpetually in pursuit of something, a fleeting figure lost amidst the whirlwind of his office existence, while I found myself gradually sinking into a profound loneliness. 053. As the warm rays of the sun caressed my skin that day at the beach, a profound sense of solitude and emptiness enveloped me. As Jack and I tossed the ball back and forth, laughter filled the air, each throw sparking tales of our funniest memories. In that fleeting moment when my gaze drifted, as he applied sunscreen to my back, I sensed the gentle caress of his hand. 113. What initially appeared to be a straightforward and compassionate gesture gradually unraveled into a web of complexity as the hours passed. In the quiet corners of my thoughts, shattered dreams lingered, and it dawned on me that Jack was the sole soul who truly saw me amidst the shadows. His casual yet gentle words and deeds wrapped around me like a comforting blanket, igniting a warmth within that had long been dormant. 135. A piece of my past that Will had snatched away from me ages ago. In that instant, it dawned on me that Jack was stepping into the void my husband had created. My mind wandered to the possibilities of what this could signify for our journey together. Yet, the family gathering I had meticulously orchestrated swiftly transformed into a somber affair. As we nestled into the warm sand, our laughter danced through the air, while the sounds of others enjoying themselves gently faded into a distant hum. To Owen, it was as if I was drifting further into the depths within, a tide that had swept away every trace of happiness. The weighty stillness compelled me to confront a difficult reality. The flame I once sought had vanished from my grasp. Will returned home, weary and lacking enthusiasm. He offered no greeting, inquired not about my day, nor did he exhibit any concern for his son. As I settled into the familiar embrace of the kitchen table, his absence loomed large, a silent echo in the room. It had lost its gentle touch. It was overwhelming. I had woven myself into the fabric of his existence, a thread so familiar that he could overlook my presence with ease. As I stood before the vacant desk, echoes of faded, tarnished memories danced through my mind. Regret washed over me as I reflected on how I allowed events to unfold. Once, I found myself lost in the echoes of my past, struggling to recall the essence of the woman I once was. A woman beaming with pride for her family. To 53, I sensed I had become a mere echo of my former self. Must be witnessed profoundly to hold significance, to truly sense one's worth. As I observed Jack, his attention hanging on every word that evening, it dawned on me that he was the sole one capable of quickening my heartbeat. His bright young eyes evoked memories of the hope and trust that once filled my heart. Yet, in a fleeting moment, the world transformed entirely. 318. A wave of surprise washed over me as his hand made contact with my back, a gentle touch that caught me off guard. When his gaze locked onto mine, it carried a depth of sensitivity I had never experienced from a man before. Words eluded me in that moment. In that instant, the world transformed completely. Every emotion, the solitude, the exhaustion of maintaining this facade, it all bubbled up to the surface. A quiet tempest swept through me, unveiling truths I had long kept buried. 3:49. It was as if I had turned against my own essence when the blow came. It felt as though I had collided with my own essence. As I stood once more upon the shore, enveloped by the crowd, a profound realization washed over me. I had crafted my own prison, and must summon the courage to break free. My emotions were unraveling, pulling me in every direction. Though it lacked the essence of love, the bond that was blossoming between us was almost too much to bear. For 14, Jack's expression shifted from amusement to bewilderment as our eyes met, and in that moment, I sensed we were teetering on the brink of something monumental. As I stood on the brink of discovery, I sensed that what lay ahead would unveil a truth so profound. It would linger in my mind, leaving no room for doubt. How can one cherish a soul that was never truly theirs? Our solitude and aspiration were intertwined, yet they resided on separate shores. For 35, the barrier separating us seemed on the verge of crumbling, just as a wave of fear and uncertainty washed over me. And with each fleeting moment, it became clear to me that it was not love. There lingered a profound melancholy, a relentless passage of time marked by an array of losses that clung to me, refusing to fade away. On a vast, desolate shore, I found myself caught in the tumultuous waves of love and anger. For 55 will embodied the shadows of my past, while Jack represented my beacon of hope. They were never truly mine, so how could I possibly let go? Summer days once seemed serene, yet this time their glow whispered secrets that stirred my thoughts. The sea beckoned to us from the window, its waves whispering secrets, while the sun poured in with warmth. Yet, the shadow of Will's persistent absence loomed over me, casting a pall over any flicker of joy that dared to rise. 5:24. He consistently prioritized his work over us, and each time it pierced my heart like a knife. I swiftly cast aside the thought and departed with Jack, the sole companion still eager to embrace these fleeting moments alongside me. As we journeyed toward the beach, I found myself reflecting on how much Jack had matured. He appeared to be wandering through a realm of his own as he settled into the passenger seat, headphones enveloping his ears, his gaze drifting beyond the window. 5:49. The realization washed over me like a tide. He could vanish forever in the blink of an eye. It was a mix of fear and an unexpected sense of liberation to experience these emotions. As these reflections lingered, I recalled the moments of his youth, when his tiny hand rested in mine. The sound of his laughter danced through the air, enveloping the room in warmth. It was as if we had released a long-held sigh, a moment of relief washing over us as we finally arrived. At 6:16, Jack lent a hand, guiding me to a serene nook by the water's edge, a gesture that brought me comfort. I laid the towels on the sun-kissed sand as he arranged the umbrella, evoking memories of his childhood innocence. As I observed his transformation, a deep curiosity stirred within me, compelling me to reach out and uncover the thoughts and feelings swirling within him. I kept my silence, however. 6:36. I reclined on the towel, allowing the sun to envelop me like a well-worn pillow, comforting and warm. As I sought to find my center, my mind wandered to the scent of suntan oil, a reminder of sun-soaked days and tranquil moments. In that moment, I caught a glimpse of Jack's uncertainty as I reached out to him for assistance. It seemed as though he yearned to escape the circumstances surrounding him. A wave of tension washed over me as he finally gave his consent. It took me by surprise when he reached out, his hands now bearing the weight of maturity, no longer the innocent touch of childhood. They moved with a gentle touch, each action imbued with tenderness. In that fleeting instant, an unexpected wave of emotion washed over me, causing my body to tremble in a way I had never experienced before. Jack carefully applied the oil, his hands gliding with a contemplative grace, as if pondering his next move. His touch resonated like a rhythmic pulse, and I surrendered to the darkness behind my eyelids. A sensation washed over me, one that had eluded me for what felt like an eternity. 7:25. The sensation of his hands transported me back to that moment when I first cradled him, a tiny, vulnerable infant. That memory stood in stark contrast to the sensations coursing through me now. Yet, his touch quickly grew more confident, descending lower. A tempest seemed to rise from the depths of the unknown, sweeping in unexpectedly and leaving me unprepared. I attempted to utter a word, a plea for him to cease his actions. 7:45. Yet, silence lingered in the air. In the stillness, I sought to find my calm, reminding myself that it was merely an act of kindness. Yet, it felt as though the very fabric of reality shifted with each passing moment. His hands lingered near the edge of the towel, a silent testament to his uncertainty about the next move. Though I held the power to intervene, I leaned in close and softly assured him that all was well. 8:13. Those words lingered in the atmosphere, a decree that seemed immutable. In those moments, a deeper hush enveloped us. As I descended further into the depths of my own being, his touch remained the solitary anchor in the swirling abyss. As his fingers glided down, resistance slipped away from me. As my inner objections faded into the background, I found myself swept up in a whirlwind of emotions, a tempest I struggled to articulate even to my own heart. 8:38. A whirlwind of emotions enveloped me, leaving me caught between the depths of loneliness and the thrill of excitement. Though the situation eluded my grasp, a sense of joy blossomed within me. Perhaps it was the weight of a desire I had clung to for an eternity. As I stood on the shore, my life feeling shattered and hollow, Jack emerged as a beacon of hope that I could no longer overlook. A tempest of emotions surged within me, demanding my attention. 9:04. He was more than a mere figure of affection in a shadowy realm. He was the sole spark that ignited my very existence. As our gazes met, I recognized that every flicker in his eyes mirrored the very essence of my own. It felt as though destiny had woven this opportunity into my path, and I knew I had to seize it. In releasing the grip of what once was and what may come, I found myself embracing the gentle embrace of the present. 9:26. Words eluded me, so I released a soft whisper into the air. The stage is yours, proceed with your tale. Those words appeared to convey their own meaning. Emerging from the blaze of the instant, he continued forth. With each intentional gesture of his hands, I experienced more than mere physical sensations. I shut my eyes, allowing his touch to weave a tapestry of enchantment around me. 9:51. It was a realm I longed to remain in forever. It seemed as though he was unearthing the very essence of my being, revealing a profound sense of wonder and authenticity. In that instant, we both understood that this was no ordinary moment. It was a fresh avenue for connection, a symphony of emotions that defied definition. In that instant, I understood that his hands were conveying something deeper than mere contact. 10:15. They flowed like an indescribable emotion, intertwining joy, buoyancy, and the hint of chaos. A fierce longing surged within me, pulling at my very core. My lips were sealed in a firm embrace. In that moment, my longing crystallized as my mind quieted, leaving only the rhythm of our breaths to fill the stillness around us. 10:37. I slowly opened my eyes and gazed up at him. In that fleeting moment, all else faded into the background, losing its significance. We found ourselves on an infinite stretch of sand, isolated from the world around us. In this instance, the rules and the world faded into the background. In that fleeting instant, It seemed as though an entire universe of possibilities unfolded before me. 10:57, each moment brimmed with those precious emotions that are frequently obscured by the monotony of everyday existence. I yearned to freeze the moment, to hold the barrier between us still, ensuring our souls and hearts remained forever intertwined. Our hidden paradise unfolded at this beach picnic. In the stillness, there was significance, and words were unnecessary between us. For a fleeting moment, my worries and fears faded, replaced by a fragile bond that connected us. 11:23, we navigated a boundless ocean of feelings, akin to two vessels searching for refuge from a tempest. This reveals that emotions can occasionally transcend the limits of language. In the stillness of our shared existence, we transcended the roles of mother and son. We were like delicate blooms, stretching toward the light, blissfully unaware that one day it might shine too fiercely for us to bear. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself lost in the moment, unaware of how swiftly time slipped away, casting elongated shadows across the sandy shore. Inhaling the crisp scent of the ocean breeze, I surrendered to a tranquil stillness. It was as if a restoration had occurred, a refreshing pause from the monotonous, tired existence that had settled in. Yet, the moment had come to return to the familiar embrace of home. 12:11, and with that emerged a haunting fear that slinked into my mind, much like an unshakable chill that lingered on the edges of my being. As Jack and I settled into the car, a sense of inevitability washed over me, as if the universe had already set the stage for what was to come. As we journeyed a few blocks, my mind wandered, attempting to distance itself from the relentless ache that felt as though it was consuming my very essence. 12:31, with every turn of the wheels, the delicate fortress I had constructed around my heart began to crumble, as if an ominous presence lurked, waiting for our return home. Upon my arrival, I found myself once again enveloped in my little universe, encircled by the indifference that had woven through his constant absence. He spoke aloud as he toiled, lost in his own world, as if the house were empty of all but himself. He appeared to be ensnared in a realm of his own making. 12:53, the sound of his footsteps echoed softly in the kitchen as he prepared dinner. Yet it was evident that his mind wandered elsewhere. Each time his gaze drifted from mine, the simmering anger within me grew more difficult to contain. "Will, is your hunger calling once more?" In an effort to maintain a sense of normalcy, I inquired. 13:13, his smile flickered briefly, a mere illusion of warmth. With a subtle nod, he continued his search through the cabinets, seeking a way to fill the evening hours. As I nestled into my bed that night, my mind wandered endlessly to thoughts of Jack. His gaze, his touch, and his unwavering focus blurred the boundaries of what once seemed ordinary. 13:34, I endeavored to cast aside those thoughts, yet they returned time and again, relentless in their pursuit. In that moment, I felt the pull to pause, to embrace silence, yet a shadow within me resisted, yearning for the chaos to continue. It lacked the warmth and attention I once received from Will. As the days unfolded, Jack grew increasingly silent. His demeanor, unspoken yet profound, conveyed more than any words ever could. 14 o'clock, while I prepared meals or relaxed in the living room, his gaze remained keen, unwavering, and fixed upon me. One night, as I sat engrossed in the flickering images on the screen, I felt his gaze locked onto me, unwavering and intense. I embraced it. Instead, I allowed it to unfold, creating a quiet connection between us, a sensation that eluded our expressions yet resonated profoundly within us. The weekend brought a wave of warmth that enveloped the house. Once more, we departed, leaving just Jack and me behind. A yearning stirred within me, an inexplicable pull to return to the beach, our beach, a longing that felt almost primal. Perhaps I was seeking an escape from the confines of the stuffy house, or maybe I clung to the hope that the fresh air would sweep away the cobwebs in my mind. The atmosphere in the car was thick with tension as we made our way down the road. At 14:45, Jack found himself seated, headphones snugly in place, gazing out the window as the world unfolded beyond the glass. An undeniable tension gripped my insides, compelling me to confront the reality of what was unfolding between us. The morning unfolded with a serene tranquility, enveloping the world in a gentle embrace. In the heart of the kitchen, I busied myself with breakfast, as the enticing aroma of freshly brewed coffee intertwined with the comforting scent of warm toasted bread. 15:06, a smile crept onto my face as I recalled the countless moments when Will would steal a glance my way before dashing out the door. The rhythmic cadence of our existence unfolded in the way our mornings mirrored the steady tick of a clock. Today, however, he approached me and gently pressed his lips against my cheek. For a fleeting instant, his presence enveloped me, akin to the gentle caress of the first rays of spring sunshine. 15:27, yet, before too long, he found himself departing, returning to the monotonous realm of work that consumed him. The sound of his footsteps echoed on the stairs, followed by the sharp bang of the door. And just like that, I was left in the warm embrace of the sunlit, tranquil house. As was his custom, Jack glided into the kitchen, barely making a sound, reminiscent of a specter in the soft glow of dawn. He stood by the window, a statue of contemplation, gazing outside with an intensity that was almost palpable. 15:52, I gazed back at him, noticing how his eyes were locked onto mine, reminiscent of that moment on the beach when nothing else seemed to occupy his mind. It became evident to us that the bond we shared had evolved into something deeper than the typical mother-son connection. The heat enveloped me, and I sensed his breath lingering just behind me. It served as a tender reminder of how affection and comfort could envelop all things. 16:14, the intensity of the moment left me utterly speechless. As I attempted to interject with a soft word, he drew nearer, and a thrilling mix of fear and exhilaration coursed through me. "It is time for me to take my leave." I began to weave my tale, but he interrupted my flow. As his lips met mine, a whirlwind of emotions surged within me. In that moment when our lips met, the world around us began to unravel. Deep down, I sensed the weight of my choices. 16:41, I became so enveloped in my emotions of love and anxiety that the lines of right and wrong faded from my mind. I understood the potential for utter devastation. With every kiss, a spark ignited within me, reviving a sense of vitality I had long thought lost. I defied all conventions and ventured into the mysterious beyond in those fleeting instants. 17 o'clock, the day stretched endlessly, yet I found myself caught in the midst of a tempest. Jack and I ventured beyond a boundary that was never intended to be breached. I realized then that this was not a fleeting error, but rather a moment that would linger for some time, yet a burden that would grow weightier with each passing moment. In that moment, I felt as if I stood at the precipice of my own existence, unable to escape the weight of the shame that bore down upon me. 17:21, his gaze held me captive, and the subtle gestures of affection stirred within me a deep sense of yearning and passion. Yet, it seemed as if we were teetering on the edge of an abyss, the ground beneath us ready to give way at any moment. In that moment, a profound transformation within me became unmistakably clear. We found ourselves entwined in a tale that defied the boundaries set before us, yet it carried a weight of significance. 17:45, as his hands made contact with mine, The walls I had built around my heart crumbled, allowing the emotions I had long suppressed to finally surface. I found myself pondering whether I had erred in some way, for I